Welcome to another edition of The Leaders. I'm Yuli Ismartono from Asia Views, and I'm still in Tokyo, Japan. This time, I will be meeting with Mr. Yohei Sasakawa. Mr. Sasakawa is not only chairman of the Nippon Foundation, Japan's largest private charity organization, he is also the country's foremost civil society leader. In Japan and around the world, Mr. Sasakawa is well known for his contribution towards humanitarian causes, especially in the field of health, education, and maritime issues. The World Health Organization has named him Goodwill Ambassador for the elimination of leprosy. A graduate of Meiji University in political science and economics, Mr. Sasakawa has won many awards, too many to mention here. So let's meet him at his office in the Nippon Foundation. Sir, thank you for being with us today. Among your many activities, your primary interests seem to be in the areas of sustainable development of maritime activities and the elimination of leprosy. Let us begin with the sustainable development of maritime activities and what first attracted you to this subject?
とてもいい質問を最初にいただいてありがとうございます。
Well, thank you very much for that first question. It's a very good question. And as you know, of course, Japan is a country where we hardly have any natural resources. Therefore, we have to be dependent on the importation of different resources. And they all come through the Malacca-Singapore Straits. These imports are supposed to arrive to the people of Japan, and it supports the economic activities that we carry out in our country. Therefore, it is so important that we have navigational safety in the seas. In recent years, as you know, China's economic development is something to be marveled at. It's not only China, but Korea, Taiwan, Vietnam. All these Northeastern Asian countries are all developing their economies. I feel that it is so important that the sea is safe and sound for all of these countries. That is why, in recent years, I've taken an interest in the seas. Now, when we look back in history, ever since the 17th century, everyone thought that the sea was limitless, and that we could use it free of charge. But in recent years, there's been an outcry to stop global warming. And therefore, we really need to change the mindset of the people all over the world. We know now that the sea has its limits. It was not limitless, as we thought in the olden days. Therefore, we have to realize we must use the sea wisely. Otherwise, the survival of humankind will not be realized. Up until now, we have really thought of our human activities as being carried out on land. And not much interest was given to the sea. But I feel that with so little interest in the sea, I felt it was my role, and it was important for me to appeal to the world of the importance of the sea.
全ての人たちにこの海の重要性というものをアピールする活動をしていくことが大変重要だということに気がついたわけです。
You mentioned, Mr. Sasakawa, the importance of the Malacca Straits as a commercial sea route, but there's a serious problem of piracy there. How do you think the littoral countries of Singapore, Malaysia, can address, and Indonesia can address this problem, and how can Japan help?
As you know, our foundation has been involved in the issue of the Malacca-Singapore Straits for more than 40 years now. I think it is safe to say our foundation is probably the only foundation that has been involved in the Malacca-Singapore Straits. But in recent years, as you say, of course, there is an issue of piracy in this area. As well, maritime terrorism is developing, which has become a real critical and major issue. And therefore I feel that for only the little states to solve this problem on their own is not possible. And therefore we need to involve many of the users, many of the stakeholders who are users of the Malacca-Singapore Straits, to contribute to the solution of this problem. So I had a desire to create an international mechanism where we can all donate or contribute to solving this issue. Of course, for more than a decade, governments have been involved in negotiations as to how to solve this issue. But as yet, there has not been an intergovernmental agreement on how to solve this very critical issue. And therefore, I felt that if we, from the private sector, could think and come up with a sort of international mechanism, we would be able to solve this issue from the private sector side.
Is this the proposal that you have to establish this mechanism through which users would pay for the support of safe navigation through the Strait of Malacca? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes. In the world, as you know, there is Track 1, which is intergovernmental negotiations, and Track 2, which is really private sector negotiations. And therefore, we felt that if we, as a private sector, in Track 2, can stimulate Track 1 through our initiative and through our activities, I think it could really contribute to the solution of this problem. And of course, Track 1 functionality has not been working, as I have mentioned. But we feel that we can really stimulate them through our initiative. I feel that having an initiative like this, of having stakeholders from the private sector pay voluntarily, I feel that through this sort of mechanism, we can really secure safe navigation, as well as environmental protection, and also solve the piracy issue. And therefore, if we in the private sector start to do something like this, we feel that the international organizations, as well as other related governments, will follow suit. And I feel that our initiative will be very, very interesting, because it is something that we will be able to implement and achieve good results, and to solve international problems through Track 2, through the private sector. It will be something that will be very, very interesting, and could also solve other international problems as well.
So am I correct to say that this initiative is like a toll? You have a toll road for highways. This will be a toll for sea routes?
Well, I think the nuance is a little bit different, because if you were driving, going on a highway, you have to pay for the gate to open, for the car to go through. And it's really forced payment that you have to do at the entrance of the highway. But what we're thinking of is on a totally voluntary basis. For example, we will not be charging a per-ship toll, but what we will be doing is, with all the maritime organizations that exist in the world today, and the little state governments, we'll talk together about what sort of budget they'll need to achieve safe navigation in the Malacca-Singapore Straits, and be ready to bear the burden that is coming from usage by each of the different maritime organizations.
Thank you for your clarification. That makes sense.